last video on this subject ever. At least that's my plan. See what happens. Only where absolutely necessary will I revisit this subject. I will attempt to eradicate the word Holocaust from my vocabulary and give no cause for this subject to ever be brought up to me again. Thank you very much.
So I want to talk about two arguments that I've been presented with after uploading that video on Holocaust.
Yeah, well, why don't you deal with the biggest argument, which was it was completely a hatchet job intended to pervert perspective and give people cause to think I was insensitive to the suffering of the Jews or some other implication. You gave no indication that this was a stupid argument about numbers and whether it was gas chambers or slow, horrible death through, diarrhea and typhus and any other number of horrors. Why don't you deal with that issue, you fucking piece of shit. I'll post a link to a video by the Morbid Atheist, that has a bunch of animals being poorly treated, mostly chickens and turkeys. And so, yeah, I could just take your comments about how animals aren't anything and they're useless pieces of shit and blah, blah, blah. And I could just take clips of you talking, maligning their sentience and their capacity to feel and their dignity and all the rest of that shit. And I'll just take your voice and put it over those images and we'll see how you feel about it, you stupid weasel. But I'm not going to do that because it's wrong. It's cheating. And I'm not a cheater like you.
The first argument is that I am applying the term Holocaust denier inappropriately.
Way too broadly. Yeah, just way preposterously too broadly. I have no, look, I'll let you do your definition and then I'll explain to you. Well, you already know what you're doing here, so it doesn't need explanation.
I think basically because the people feel it should only be applied to people who are overtly anti-Semitic and have this neo-Nazi or anti-Semitic agenda.
Agenda is a key word there. Yeah, you should have focused on that one. They should have an agenda, asshole.
And for sure there are Holocaust deniers who fit that description, but the problem is that within the Holocaust denial subculture, they definitely
subculture. See, now he's stating there's a subculture, right? So I routinely, probably more than you have, probably more than any. I have blocked a lot of people. I don't have 1,000 people blocked, but maybe it's 500, and probably at least 200 of those people are just people who made some kind of Jew comment on my board somewhere, and I block them. I delete their comment, and I block them. I do it routinely. But now I'm part of some kind of Holocaust denial subculture. Even though I've never had a conversation with any Jew bigot, I've never associated with any of these people, I routinely block them and kick them, yet I'm part of a subculture of Jew haters. Fuck you, you skanky piece of fucking shit.
Have their people that sort of put their best face forward and are not these raving neo-Nazi anti-Semites. People like David Cole and David Irving. They're, if you were to say they're anti-Semitic, it's a much more ambiguous anti-Semitism. And David Cole is a Jew, both his parents.
Yeah, well, whatever. Like, this has something to do with you rehashing a subject I've pointed out I have no interest in talking about. I have no interest in having a discussion about, hashing out. I expressed my opinion, period, end of the story. Yet you think I'm obligated, and that's just fucking bullshit. I'm not obligated. I'm not preaching. I'm not propagandizing. I'm not distributing. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. You're just playing a fucking game because it's there for you to play with. It's a hot button word and you're playing with it, and that's all you're fucking goddamn doing, you motherfucking piece of shit.
They're Jews. So And yet I think you would be hard-pressed to make a serious argument that they're not Holocaust deniers. Now, the second argument...
Yeah, well, you think, okay? You think. Why are you an authority? Why are you playing with this subject? Well, who nominated you defender of the Holocaust? Where was that established, that that's your role? That you're going to take an issue this sensitive, there's huge, decades of crap piled up on this subject, and yet you feel you have the competence and authority to jump in and establish who is or who is not something. You're so full of shit.
That I'm getting is that, denying the details of the Holocaust doesn't make you a Holocaust denier. And that's true. And minutiae, are up for debate. There's lots of debate in the historians do debate elements of the Holocaust, and things do change.
And who cares? How does what any of those people do have to do with anything to do with me having the right to express an opinion without being slandered with the counter argument that I endorse or I'm insensitive to the starving people you showed me in the video, that you put my voice over. You didn't put my voice over people who came out of a gas chamber. You put my voice over people who obviously died of disease and maltreatment. So why am I responsible for those deaths? Why is it my voice over those deaths, you fucking cunt?
Figures change and evidence changes, or new evidence comes up. But what the Holocaust deniers deny is not minutiae, it's not a detail. They are the key elements of the Holocaust, and when you strip them away from the Holocaust...
Says you, right? So now you're the authority on what the Holocaust is, and the Holocaust is gas chambers and a deliberate effort by thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Nazis to throw little baby Jews into fucking gas chambers and then burn them in the ovens and, bury them in the yard or whatever. And that's your argument. And that's the Holocaust. It's not about millions of people dying. It's not about the context of World War II. It's not about any of that shit. No, it's not about the huge, giant pile of suffering, unnecessary, completely caused by what I pointed out, bigotry and segregation. Right? No, it doesn't have anything to do with any of that shit. The Holocaust is about gas chambers. I mean, fuck you.
What you are left with is just another horrific event in history. Holocaust...
Yeah, right, exactly. So let's make distinctions. So you have more evidence of the Holocaust being deliberate than you have evidence of the annihilation of the American native as being deliberate. I mean, there was plenty of people who wrote about getting rid of them, plenty of people who did kill them deliberately to prevent their reproduction. Fuck you.
Deniers deny three main elements of the Holocaust. The three pillars of Holocaust denial are that there was an intent to exterminate the Jews.
Oh, this is just such bullshit. No, and the one you're not going to list is the most important one, okay, of Holocaust denial, and that is anti-Semitic agenda, right? So you're going to miss the most important element of Holocaust denial is the agenda, asshole. It's not Holocaust denial to have an opinion.
So, Holocaust deniers, their first pillar of Holocaust denial is that there was no systematic effort to exterminate the Jews. Number two, they will argue that there was no highly technical, well-organized extermination process implemented that included gas chambers and crematoria.
Alright, now if I took this definition on the streets of New York, how many average New Yorkers, who are, there's a lot of Jews in New York, are going to, without you, reading it first, come up with your definition of a Holocaust denier? This silly, preposterous nonsense, this drivel that you're spilling. What person's going to have this preposterous, idiotic, technical definition of Holocaust denier? We all know one. It's like pornography. You know one when you see one. Alright? And they're always Always. Bigots.
So they'll deny that. Um, Number 3, they deny the number. So they will try to lowball the figure. Oh, 6 million, no, it's probably lower. Then they'll go down.
Right, and you're the experts. You have this definite, right on, solid, rock solid, goddamn, nobody and possibly with an ounce of rational neurons could possibly disagree with your fucking number. Silly person.
As low as a few 100,000, but they'll usually settle around a couple of million. So those are the 3 things that all these Holocaust deniers deny. What they all...
Yeah, and it has nothing to do, like I said, with what the average person's perception of Holocaust denial means, which is anti-Semitic propaganda intended to harm Jews, to create energy to, in some way, harm them.
Don't deny. They do not deny that anti-Semitism was rampant in Nazi Germany. They do not deny that Hitler...
Yeah, right. Now, a key part of that, though, is that they think it was deserved. And you goddamn know it. That's part of the rationalization, is that, well, the Jews deserved it.
And the leaders of the Nazi Party were anti-Semites and hated Jews. They do not deny that the Jews were rounded up, had their property confiscated, and were sent to concentration camps. They don't deny that people suffered horribly in these concentration camps, that they were...
Well, why do you keep calling them concentration camps? You're telling me you're emphatic, you're a Holocaust denier, essentially, by saying concentration camp. They're not concentration camps. You just said it's a systematic effort to exterminate the Jews. So why the fuck are you calling them concentration camps? They're clearly, by your own rhetoric, they must be called extermination camps. They had nothing to do with concentration. They had to do with extermination. You've just said it. That's what you have to say if you're not a Holocaust denier. You've just denied the Holocaust, you fucker. Don't you just denied the you're a fucking Holocaust denier now. Oh, broken Mac, you stupid fuck. You're a Holocaust denier now.
Subjected to slave labor, mistreatment, overcrowding, disease, and, horrible treatment. And they don't deny that millions of people died in these camps. So when I'm hearing a lot of people arguing with me are saying that as long as you don't deny these things.
Again, your fucking stupid list. There's a lot of other things that are part of the elements of a Holocaust denier. This is just stupid. You just took all the racism out of it. You took all the hate agenda out of it. You took out all the conspiracy theory, the Jews control the media, the Jews control the money, blah, blah, blah. You took out all that shit, all right, and took out the whole agenda of the denial. If some person disagrees with you, they are not a Holocaust denier, you stupid fuck. If they disagree with you and do it with a contrived propaganda, then you can call them a Holocaust denier, you stupid fuck.
You're not a Holocaust denier, but all I can think is that they're arguing they must be unaware of what...
Yeah, they're unaware of your stupid piece of paper where you wrote down your official statement of what a Holocaust denier is, asshole. You're not the fucking official source of the goddamn motherfucking definition, you dumb fucking pretentious egomaniacal lunatic. You are not the definition, asshole. You don't possess it. You don't own it, you stupid shit.
What these Holocaust deniers do argue, because they've just exonerated all of the whole Holocaust denying subculture from being Holocaust deniers, even the neo-Nazi Holocaust deniers.
Yeah, well, you've just put yourself in the subculture, okay? Because you said concentration camp, and that's a lie. It wasn't a concentration camp, you dumb shit.
Don't deny these elements of it, most of it. So, and then I was listening to the recording of Inmendham's Stickham session, and he's arguing that basically he's saying that if the Japanese had won the war, that there would be the Holocaust story would be told about us. It would be, that we had tried to kill off all the Japanese people or something. So, I mean, if that's not a flat out denial, he's flat out then saying that it's a complete fabrication.
No, see, that's how it works. Yeah, I knew that's how it kind of worked. I mean, I say red and you say, no, he's not really saying red. He's saying violet plus a little bit of magenta plus this plus that plus. You're just going to add all this extra little fucking bullshit. All right, because that's the game you play. You don't quote me. You don't quote me in context. You just sit there and play this fucking weasel game. I mean, what I said was, if we were losing the war, the Japanese interred would have ended up dead, and we would have been blamed, and we would have likely been blamed that we deliberately killed the Japanese people. And we did it. We blew the fucking shit out of them. We firebombed them, and we nuked the goddamn Japanese. And so they'd be able to put their little conspiracy theory together.
I mean, if you're just flipping.
I mean, not to, I mean, it's just kind of silly not to accept that that's human nature. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody for that. That's just the way human nature is. The winners get to write the fucking history, you asshole. And sometimes that history is written to their advantage. And you goddamn know that. And I was just bringing it up as a point. This is a reason to be a little, you can't just take everything somebody says and just say, okay, I believe it, and that's the truth. And that's what you're telling me. And I'm saying, no, that's not called evidence, asshole. That's called a story. And it has to be verified with evidence.
Around and you're saying that the Japanese would do it and they would clearly be lying, then you're saying that this is a complete fabrication.
Whatever. Complete fabrication is, that's not my words. Have I said that? No, I haven't said that. I said I have a problem making it add up. I have a problem with this story of millions of people gassed by this toxic, highly toxic cyanide. It doesn't make any sense, okay? It doesn't make sense. Sorry. That's all I've said, okay? So I haven't said any of this shit. You're allowed to think it makes sense. That can be your fucking opinion. In my opinion, it lacks sense.
And to me, that's, again, this is the epitome of Holocaust analysis. Say it's a complete fabrication. What else? How can that not be interpreted as a...
Yeah, it's fine. See, words you just pulled out of your ass and shoved them in my fucking mouth. I never said anything like that, you fucking asshole. I never said it was a complete fabrication. I never said people weren't gassed. I just said millions of people probably weren't gassed, in my opinion. That's my fucking opinion.
As Holocaust now. And that's in no way to deny that, of course, the Japanese were mistreated, and of course, that was a crime, right?
Well, why is it of course? Again, where's your proof? Wow, where's your proof that any of that happened? Where's your proof?
Rounding the Japanese up and putting them in internment camps was criminal, for sure, but it's not a...
Yeah, and if they were killed, would it be more criminal? And if there was a document where the high officials in the government talked about how the fact that they're a waste of money and resources, we can't take care of those assholes, so fuck them. Then it would be proof that it was a deliberate effort.
It's not the Holocaust.
I guess it depends on who you are. What's a Holocaust, right? So I guess it's in what seat you're sitting on or what little pot you're pooping in decides whether you're in a Holocaust or not, right? Asshole.
Point in his Stickam chat, a guy said, asked him a question and said, look, if I say that I don't believe there was a systematic effort to exterminate the Jews, wouldn't that make me a Holocaust denier? Gary basically says, I don't see why it would.
Yeah, so this is more paraphrase. This isn't a quote or anything. I don't recall that exactly. So you're just saying stuff again. Again, you can just say this shit. This is what you call valid evidence. Your paraphrase is now in the record. That's testimony against me. Gary said this. And so this is the kind of evidence you use. Gary said. Okay? You said Gary said. That's what you call evidence. That's just bullshit, I'm afraid.
I don't see why that would make you a Holocaust denier. And again, the statement is to say there was no systematic effort to exterminate the Jews doesn't make you a Holocaust denier. I don't get that. I don't.
Well, you don't have to get it. Who's telling you you have to get it? I don't get the otherwise. I don't get the, yes, let's kill the Jews in the stupidest way possible. Let's waste as much money as possible. Let's transport, you know, hundreds of thousands of tons of Jew, you know, hundreds of miles, guard them, feed them, keep them alive, do all of that kind of crap just to kill them. I mean, no, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's insane to say that that is somehow a minutia. That's a detail. It's not important.
Nobody's saying that. My only argument to you is that the evidence sucks, unfortunately. It'd be great if we had great evidence. It'd be great if we had a real fucking gas chamber left over, okay? If you know, if they weren't all destroyed by the SS, even though the SS didn't wipe out the witnesses 50 feet away, you know, but they effectively vaporized all of the gas chambers. So yeah, it'd be really great if we had some real hard evidence, some sort of real photograph of people dead people inside a gas chamber. But we don't have any of that shit. All right, so that's why this argument takes place. But it shouldn't even be an argument. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe. Go ahead and believe it. Enjoy yourself.
Anyway, regardless, whatever. Moving on. So, he says, in What the Fuck 163, he says, if you're going to call me a Holocaust denier, then I can call Jews penny-pinching interest whores or some other bullshit. And I don't get that. I don't see how... Where's...
Oh, yeah, you don't see how slander begets slander. Oh, okay, I get it. So you can say I'm all part of a subculture that is bigoted against Jews, that wants to hurt Jews, maybe wants to kill Jews, maybe wants to annihilate Jews. You can associate me with those kind of subcultures. You can put me into some sort of pigeonhole of Jew hater, all right? And no, if I did exactly the same thing in reverse and said, okay, yeah, well, let's just play that game. Let's just fight the bigotry with the bigotry then. Okay? We'll play the same game. We'll just keep labeling each other. We'll keep putting that little Star of David on top of each other's fucking goddamn forehead. So, you assholes who keep saying learning from history, you don't learn shit from history. Here you are using a charged word like Holocaust denier and you're labeling people with it. And it's now different than the fucking goddamn Nazis labeling people with their fucking religion. So fuck you. I mean, this is just fucking bullshit. You're not accomplishing anything with this bullshit nonsense. Go find a neo-Nazi who wants to argue about the Holocaust if you want to argue about the Holocaust, and he'll give you an argument for the rest of your fucking life. I said explicitly I have no interest in arguing it. I said I have my opinion. It's my opinion. Nobody else has to share it on this whole fucking goddamn earth.
The logical chain of thought there. Why would someone calling you a Holocaust denier grant you the right to disparage Jewish people?
Well, it's all about who's carrying what banner, right? You're charging at me, whapping me over the head with a stick that's got the the Israel flag on it, essentially, some kind of thing like that. The association is there. You're beating me up because I'm not accepting your fucking rhetoric. You're saying I'm an evil, nasty, horrible person because I won't speak your speak. You're fucking carrying the goddamn banner, asshole. There's no separating your fucking bullshit from that flag. Now you've decided that you're the guy who's gonna defend the Holocaust against these evil Holocaust deniers, and you've decided to label me one of them. And you're so yeah, you got there's a liability to that because I'm not going to appreciate being fucking slandered.
I mean, first of all, I'm not a Jew, but even if I was, where would that how would that chain of logic work?
It's the same chain of logic that, like, if a black guy rapes your sister, yeah, you might end up getting racial about it. Okay, that might happen to you. All right, and if this you could get fucked by a few people, throwing this shit up your ass, this Holocaust denier crap, eventually you're going to start associating with the people who are notorious for it or have a deeper and and more legitimate passion for it. You're just playing a game with it because it's a controversial word. You like to play with things. You like to play with fire. That's all. You're just a pyromaniac.
And Gary's used this kind of reasoning before, when somebody pisses him off, and he said, anyway, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of anger, asshole. And when you incite it, you really, it's really kind of silly to say that human beings, well, there's no arguing it, is there? There really isn't any argument here, right? I mean, there's this thing called fighting words. Okay, you've maligned and whatever the right word is, but yeah, I mean, you've slandered my character, you motherfucking weasel, and I resent the fucking hell out of it.
If that's the rhetoric we're going to end up using about each other, then fine. I mean, that's where you want to take this, you asshole, then yeah, let's go there. But it's not my choice to go there. It's entirely your choice to go there. Again, Gary's used this argument before. I've heard him do it lots of times, where he will say the other person is dragging him down to the depths of having to say the most vile and hateful things to people. Of course, nobody makes you say those things, Gary.
Well, I've never said that. I say vile and hateful things to people because they're vile and hateful people. I think you're a vile, hateable, infinitely hateable piece of motherfucking shit. I've said it clearly. You have no character. You're a dishonest weasel. You're not a fucking honest and human of integrity. You're playing a fucking game with this goddamn issue. I'll bet you whatever money you got in a polygraph test. All right, on let's ask two questions. Okay, you get asked the question. Whether you have any give a shit about this subject, whether you're just using it because you want to try to take a shot at Gary, and I can be asked the question, how many hours have you contemplated the horrors of what Jews endured during World War II?
Nobody makes you say Jews are penny pinching interest whores.
Yeah, nothing made you say that I'm part of a fucking subculture that hates Jews and wants to harm them in some way. Nobody made you say that, you fucking cunt.
Okay. You don't have to say that no matter what.
Yeah, you don't have to say that no matter what, asshole. You really don't.
I would never say that.
Yeah, I would never say that.
I don't care what you accuse me of, or you can be wrong. It's not going to make me into a racist. But
no, you're already a speciesist. You're already a mass murdering, self-important, maniacal, sadistic piece of shit.
For some reason, Gary thinks that's a rational argument to make.
Yeah, well, I don't. There's probably better ways to articulate this than I am. But yeah, that's how it works in life. There's this thing called association, and brains will associate. All right, things that are connected, and yeah, and so there's just no way I can separate what you're doing from like, what's it called, the Jewish Defense League, or the tactics of these other people who have hurt people in what they think is defending. Their propaganda.
And later on he says, and at this point he's talking to Jews in general, saying that, it's their responsibility to stop me from making this video.
I don't know if I said it was their responsibility. I'm just saying they're the only ones who can do it. They either keep possession of their Holocaust, all right, and keep it out of little reckless assholes like you, keep it out of your hands. Because yeah, if they tell you you're gonna succumb to that pressure, you're just playing this game because you can get away with it, because you seem like some kind of little sympathetic weasel, and so they're falling for it. All right, but you're not representing their interest at all. You're not defending the Holocaust. You're just playing a game with the Holocaust. And the fact that you would put those images, you would put my voice on those images, is just a perfect illustration of that. How the fuck could you possibly take possession of those images and those lives and say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to take what you went through, your suffering, and I'm going to play this game with it to attack this guy who, you know, has an opinion. You think they would appreciate that? You think the Americans who died in the war would appreciate that? I don't think anybody would appreciate you fucking shithead.
And he says, if this is going to be how people of a certain faith or a certain religion are going to make an argument pleading their case, if this is how you're going to do it with lies and slander and distortion, well then you're going to pay a price for that, okay? You're going to lose credibility. You're going to lose more credibility. And I think there's implicit anti-Semitism in both of those statements.
Yeah, right. Well, you think again, you think. So you're allowed to think, you're allowed to opine, but other people aren't, okay? And so, you know, that's your double standard. Your opinion has meaning and substance and is respectable and other people's isn't. So fuck you. I mean, again, this is, you know, I'm sorry, but this is a real, this has been going on. The reason why I made the first video, I called it a third rail subject, because of exactly that problem. Because there are people out there that are just too motherfucking fanatic. They're literally and practically insane. All right, and yeah, so there can't be any rational conversation. It has to be outlawed in some countries to talk about, because this subject creates so much unnecessary hate.
Right, Gary. So, you know, as much as I have said on the record several times, I don't think Gary's an anti-Semite.
Well, whatever. I don't, you know, who the fuck cares what you think? Let's see what you made me into. Let's talk about what you did to me, you stupid ass.
You know, this argument that he's making that somehow he's being, you know,
you know, yeah, so what? I just, you know, I took his comments out of context, and I took out all the part about, you know, the bigotry and the segregation and the Star of Day. Yeah, I took out all the part that matters, and yeah.
Forced into being an anti-Semite here, or turned into one.
Yeah, well, how do you think every bigot on earth almost sometimes is created? I mean, people, it's personal experience sometimes that makes the difference, you dumb shit. All right, and if you get enough people fucking with you, yeah, you're going to start generalizing, and you're going to start blaming anything you can find common among them, you dumb shit.
The only way you could be an anti-Semite is because you harbor those feelings in yourself.
Yeah, right. And how do you acquire that harboration? And how do you go from what you're saying, that nobody is ever hardened? So the German Jews in Germany were all anti-German before the war. Like before the Nazis even showed up, they were already anti-German, right? Being abused by the Nazis didn't make them anti-German. I mean, come on, you fucking cunt.
Somehow, maybe you're hiding them. Maybe you know better than to voice them out loud, but you...
Oh, so now we're going to speculate, right? Yeah, isn't that charming? So again, more words out of your ass into my mouth. You're going to put more words into my mouth, more intent into my actions, right? And you're not going to judge me based on any proof or any evidence. You're just going to make up some more motherfucking stories. And that's all it's about, you motherfucking piece of shit.
Feel your hand is being forced, but people can't make you feel that way about other people.
Playing with the Holocaust is fun.
Well, you can't be turned into an anti-Semite by being called a Holocaust denier.
I'm sorry. Slander. When people slander, people killed each other on the field of honor over such slanders, asshole. So don't keep pretending with it. What you have done is some sort of harmless act. Alright, if there was a hell to chase you down in, I would chase you down in it, and I would... Let's not even go into it.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to people who have no integrity, like you. People who have no ethics, no moral compass, people who don't even understand what suffering is, and yet will make videos about the Holocaust. People who think suffering is completely irrelevant, okay, that it doesn't have any universal meaning or substance or weight, that has no gravity. This is the kind of asshole now who's an authority on the Holocaust. People who don't know what the word suffering means or think it does mean anything. This is your authority on what the Holocaust is and what a Holocaust denier is. This fucking stupid, retarded putz. Alright, so really, I should have never responded to this goddamn retard. He's a fucking retard. It's a waste of goddamn space and time. My fucking mistake. Alright, so, the end of the subject. The end of videos on this subject. So go ahead. Somebody want to say some shit? Go ahead and say your shit. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do about it. But yeah, use my content and I will DMCA any other videos using my voice. Fuck that shit. You know, out of context. Play the whole thing or play none of it. You motherfuckers. Alright, enough said. Until next time, blah 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 blah.